Hello and welcome to Tech Takshila's mock system design interview series.
In this segment, we showcase what happens in an actual system design interview session. So, we hope that this will help you folks get a better feel of what happens behind the curtain.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Hi Bob, this is Alice. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Alice, nice to meet you too.
Okay, so we have this time reserved for your system design interview. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Cool. So Bob, have you used any online text editing or authoring tools like Office 365 or Google Docs or Quip?
Yes, I extensively used Google Docs in my day to day life.
All right, as you would have noticed that Google Docs give you a bunch of functionality, like you can create, edit, or delete Word documents on the platform. You can access them virtually anywhere as long as you have a working internet connection and a computer device.
Yes,
Also, you can share and edit the documents in real time with your friends and coworkers. There are a bunch of other functionalities like saving the docs offline, checking history on who edited the document. But for today, we are going to build just creating and editing functionality for Google Docs.
I see. So, let me first start up by writing the requirements for this service. So, looks like that we are only interested in the document authoring functionality.
Yep, that's right.
So let's write that down. Users can create new document. Users can also edit their documents. How about users can share their document?
Yes, users can also share this document.
Which begs the question that if the user's friend can also edit the document at the same time or not.
Yes, that's correct. We want users that have shared document can also edit the document with the user almost at real time.
Okay, that makes this design a little bit tough.
Take your time. We will try to unblock or narrow the scope if it requires us to save some time.
Okay, so the multi-user edit functionality is also in scope.
Yes. What else can you think of?
Do we also have to think about the user authentication? Like, can we assume that the users who are editing or creating the document are already authenticated or authorized to do so?
Yep, we can assume that.
Okay, what about commenting and chat functionality similar to Google Docs?
We can also park that for now. Let's focus more on editing and creating the doc.
I assume that we can also park showing or saving the version history of any document.
Yes, let's also park that for now.
All right, I think we have enough features and the requirements to start designing our service.
Sounds good. Let's proceed.
So just like with any document authoring and collaboration tool, the main question to answer is that how would we resolve the conflicts? Conflicts can happen at many places. A user can go offline while editing the document, and the copy on which he or she was editing might not be the freshest as on the server. Another scenario could be that there are two or more users editing the same section at the same time. This also causes conflicts on which users changes to keep in the end. Okay, so let's cover the basic use case of creating the document first, since that is pretty straightforward.
Okay.
So we will have our user here that will basically talk to our front end and sends a request to create the document. So we will call this API gateway where the request will land, and this request will be forwarded to our service which we call document management service, GMS for short. And what we will do is the user will provide some basic information like the title of the document, and some information we will infer like the time and the place of the document to annotate the metadata, and a unique ID for that document for our indexing purposes. And we will put all of that record in our backend data store.
Okay. What sort of data store are you planning to use?
So I'm thinking of using a NoSQL based key value data store like AWS DynamoDB.
Mm-hmm. Well, why not relational?
Well, we can use relational databases, but they don't scale horizontally and also are really expensive to maintain once they go big. although they do provide strong consistency and transactionality properties, but that we can leverage in our case, but the risk of not scaling well and also being expensive in the long run is not worth it.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Please continue.
Alright, with that out of the way, now we have to focus majorly on editing the document. We will have to design the shadow synchronization functionality for this.
Okay, what do you mean by shadow synchronization?
So what we will do is whenever a user creates or accesses a document, we will create three copies here. One is to show to the client that we will call as client copy, and the other copy that is on the server, we will call that as server copy. And then in the end, we will have a third copy which will contain the common changes. We will call that as common shadow.
Mm-hmm.
So the way it will work is to that user makes some edit on his side which are tracked in this client copy, and then this client copy is sent to the edit documents service, which we'll have here, eds, which will talk to this document management service from the first step to check where the common shadow for that document is kept. After getting that, it will give both the client's copy and the common shadow to this shadow copy management service, which we'll call SCMS, which basically takes a diff of client's changes and common shadow and applies the patch to the server's copy to keep the server's copy fresh.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One question here. What do we do when the server copy is ahead of client's copy because some other user made change at the same place?
I see, that's a really good question. I think what we can do here is place another background service which we can call as a diff sync service. So which will first query the document management service to get the original document and then call the shadow copy management service to get the common shadow and apply the patch to the server copy from any other user. In the end, it will send the fresh or result changes back to the user. So we will have this diff sync service here, and then it talks to the DMS, and then EDS is also talking to this guy, which talks to this guy, and then in the end, it sends the fresh copy back to server, back to user, sorry.
Okay. Well, this sounds rather complex. Can you draw a sequence diagram or maybe state diagram to show how this use case is handled?
Sure, let me try to simplify this. Let's say that at the beginning, we have the client who is making changes on his copy. Let's say this we'll call client text. And then there is another copy which is on the shadow copy management service that will have the common shadow on it. So let's have the common shadow here. Now, this shadow copy management service will find the diff between both the client copy and the common shadow. So we will have the diff here. And now this diff will then be copied over the server's copy, but let's say that someone has already made some edits on it. So let's take an example here. Let's say that we have the string Apple phones are cooler than Google phones. And now this is synced over three copies, customer client copy, common shadow, and also the server text. Now let's say client has made some changes, which is that Samsung phones are better than Google phones. So we have two edits here. Apple is changed to Samsung and cooler is changed to better. So after this step, common shadow would be updated to Samsung phones are better than Google phones. But let's say that at the same time, some other user made some changes. For example, BlackBerry phones are cooler than Google phones. This one is already made its way to the server copy. So we have replaced Apple with BlackBerry at this point. So since server doesn't know that what changed BlackBerry, to Samsung, it will discard the change that is made to the common shadow while syncing back to the server text.
Hmm.
So, in the end, what will happen is that this server copy, which is synced from the common shadow changes, will again repeat the same process where the diff between the common shadow and server copy is calculated and will then be again applied to the client text in the
Hmm.
end.
I see that's what you meant in the previous component diagram. Is there a way to simplify this somehow?
Yeah, like in my opinion, we can always lock the document when someone is already editing it so that the other users can't edit it for that time period.
Hmm. But there could be issues with that.
Yeah, it won't be the best user experience. There could be times that a user just opened the document for reading and forgot to close. This can leave the document locked for long time and other users would not be able to make the edits.
Hmm. Yes, I think your approach makes more sense. Even though it looks pretty complex, can you tell me what is the API request response model for editing flow?
Yeah, so we can divide the entire document into a list of, into a ordered list of sections. What is the section? So we will have some metadata to uniquely identify any section, like the document ID, which document it belongs to, the format for what kind of data this document is resolved, then the time modified, then the another data would be location. This will tell us exactly where we want to have this section added in the document. It could be appended at the end of the document or prepended in the beginning of the document. It could be after a section, before a section, stuff like that. And then the actual content that will contain that section's data or body.
Hmm. Okay, that looks good. So it was nice to know you, Bob. I hope you have great interview sessions after this. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Friends, we hope you enjoy this new video in our mock system design interview series.
If you're interested in seeing more of these videos, don't forget to subscribe to us and hit the little bell icon to get regular updates.
You can also check out other playlists to see basic system design videos or system design case studies. Also, drop us a like if you like this video or use that comment box for any suggestions.
Also, you can visit our website www.techtextula.com to read a more detailed version of this video.
Well, until next time, keep practicing and best of luck. We'll see you in the next video.